Let's do a couple of different things. Hey, guys, Mr. Tello, thank you. All right, so I want to go through and explain a couple of things. First off, regarding yesterday's lesson about Jeffrey McDonald, every word I said was true, but I'm concerned that perhaps some of you didn't hear clearly what I said. Do you remember where I said that murder took place?
Yes.
Where?
California.
North Carolina, right. Apparently, a couple of kids thought that it actually happened in Patchogue. It did not happen in Patchogue. I did not say that it happened in Patchogue. It happened in North Carolina. It's just that the person was from Patchogue, and that the person's house, the both people, the murderer and the family that he murdered, were from Patchogue, and that the house belongs to a family now that goes to school here, who was the family that was murdered, but that was in North Carolina. That wasn't up here. It's just that the house changed hands over the while. So it's not like there's any evil spirits in the house. Are we clear about that? Okay.
They can travel.
Well, if that's the case, then any evil spirit can be in any house, and then it's not
Maybe they want
the
to
fault
look
of
at
it.
their house.
I'm just gonna
Are
look the
you
box
just a
up.
little cranky today?
She didn't get her own.
I know she didn't get her Oreo, but Oreos are earned.
Yeah.
Now, here is, before I need a shot of energy. I think I'll have an Oreo here.
The carbohydrates gonna get you.
It is mean. I'm being mean on purpose because Denise is being mean to me.
Denise,
Oh!
what do you mean? He could also-
I got an eye flutter out of that one. She went. Look at that. Up until this moment in time, I thought she was like the sweetest kid in the school. And now I'm learning. If Denise doesn't get what Denise wants, Denise can give it.
Give what?
I just got, she can give it with her eyes. She does one of these a minute ago.
Yeah, okay.
It's me. I got to learn all these mannerisms so I can get better at them.
I'm a man.
Sucker, I'm going to hit you soon, sucker. All right, everything for an Oreo. I mean, it's an Oreo. It's not like it's $1 billion.
I mean, but you make it seem like it's a big thing.
I can get one.
It's the fact that you've earned it with a perfect paper.
Mine was almost perfect.
Right, and almost perfect doesn't get an Oreo. Okay, so now
But nobody's perfect, so nobody.
the paper can be perfect.
Okay, it has flaws.
Now, boys, here's the deal. So we straightened out any possible misunderstanding about the home in Patchogue. Now, the next thing that is very important to me is that you understand a little bit about what we got coming up the next few days. Let's take a look over here at your class calendar. Ready? Here's today, Thursday, and we are actually flip-flopping these two lessons. So we're going to do the last bit here of operating with scientific notation. And then tomorrow's a pretest, Monday's a pretest, Tuesday's a pretest, Wednesday's the test. Now, what I want you to understand is this, that success on this test is all about being prepared. Performance is a function of preparation. The reason one of the reasons you get the quizzes is because the questions that were on the quiz are going to be like the questions that are on the test. The questions that are on the homework, the questions that are on the do it, they're all pointing to the kind of questions that you're going to have on your test. So if you can master these, you're a good way into being able to do really well on your test. And if you can't, then there's going to be a problem on your test. Okay, let's take a look at the first question here. And generally speaking, for the most part, we did a pretty good job on numbers 1 and 2. Not so much on number 3. All right, so number 1 says this. 12 a to the 8th, b to the 3rd, over 4 a to the 5th, b to the 3rd. Number 2 says 3x to the 5th, 7x squared. And number 3 is a word problem we'll get to in a minute. As I look at this question, I'm being asked to divide. how do I handle it when I'm being asked to divide two monomials? Ishmael,
What?
what do you do? Subtract the exponents. What do I do to the coefficients?
Dividing.
Yes. So 12 divided by 4 is 3. 8 minus 5 is 3. So it's 3/8 to the third. And then we get to the tricky part of the question. And we have done at least 2, maybe as many as 4 of these in class over the last couple of days. And I want to make sure that you understand this clearly. The reason it's on the quiz is because it will be on your test. And if you got this wrong on the quiz, I don't want you to get it wrong on the test. Now listen, I said to you guys that usually when you get a question like this, they put it in multiple choice form. Some people did this. 3 minus 3 is 0, and they got b to the 0. It is a true statement that this equals the blue, the red equals the blue. That's true. The problem is nobody would ever put it like that on a multiple choice. So I said to you guys, you have to begin to realize what is anything to the 0 power? 1. So this is just times 1, which makes it just 3/8 to the third. And that's your final answer, okay? So you have to know that step about that b to the 1 is, b to the 0 is 1. Now, personally, I don't even go there. I just see it's the same thing, and I just kill them by that. All right? Next up. In this case, we're not going to divide coefficients. What are we going to do to the coefficients?
Multiply.
Multiply. And then what do I do to the exponents?
Add.
Add. So I get 21 x to the 7th. Now, somebody, not sure who, wrote 2.1 x to the 8th. Roche.
I realized it when I got my
Yeah, it's not scientific notation, okay? Now we get to number 1, or number 3, I should say, with the scientific notation. It says that there are 2 times 10 to the 7th text messages every minute. How many are sent in 4 times, what is that, 10 to the 4th? Minutes. Now look, when I see things like this, I'm not sure if I should multiply or divide. A number of people divided, and dividing was wrong. So the way I would do it is, in my mind, I wouldn't allow these big scientific notation numbers to confuse me. I would say something like this. In New York City, there are 5 text messages sent every minute. How many text messages are sent in 4 minutes? If you have 5 a minute for 4 minutes, how many do you get? 20. How'd you get 20? I multiplied, so therefore I need to multiply these 2 ugly numbers. So once you use simple numbers to figure out a simple problem, you then take the procedure that you figure out and you use it on the more complicated problem. Now on your test, you're going to have the last 3 questions of the test are all word problems like this one with scientific notation. So we have to be prepared for this. Multiply coefficients. 2 times 4 is 8. Add exponents. 8 times 10 to the 11th. And that's my final answer on the question. Okay? All right. If I go to the back of the room here, watch me for a minute. Ready? This team here, this team here. Can't remember which was which. They both went undefeated 2 straight years. And when we went undefeated one of the years, I don't remember which year for sure. I think it was the first year, but I'm not positive. Our last 2 games we knew were going to be the 2 toughest games of the year. The first game was against East Islip, and we had them on back-to-back days. I knew we wouldn't have had a problem with East Islip if we didn't play back-to-back, but when you play back-to-back, you can't use your pitcher for both games. We had a fantastic pitcher back then named McKenna Rowland. She was amazing. So I couldn't pitch her against East Islip, and we had another very good pitcher named Taylor Bells. And Taylor pitched against East Islip, and we won 4-1. So the very next day, we had to play Saxton. And what was so meaningful about that game is that Saxton was also undefeated. So we knew that whoever won that game would end up going undefeated for the year. And whoever lost, it would be the one loss of the year. Now, at the time, Saxton was coached by a coach by the name of Chick Ham. That was really his name. His first name is Charles, but they shortened it to Chick. I don't know. It's just a nickname he got. And his last name was Ham. He was very famous. And Mr. Ham, if you guys ever went to the summer camps at Saxton when you were little, he used to be like one of the main counselors in there at that camp. He's still there? All right, so then you know who I'm talking about. All right. Well, for many years, he coached softball in the district. He coached at Oregon, and he also coached at Saxton. So when he was at Saxton, he had this team that was going into the last game undefeated. And we obviously had our team, and we were going into the last game undefeated. Now, Chick Ham is famous for the fact that he loves to bunt. Bunting is the thing in baseball or softball where you turn, you face the pitcher, you tap the ball on the ground, you make him make a play. And in middle school, a lot of teams aren't any good at defending the bunt. They're just no good. Well, we are good. And we practiced and practiced. So I knew we were going to play Saxton, and I knew it might mean our undefeated season. So we practiced defending the punt over and over and over again. We did it every day for almost 2 weeks, where we would spend close to a half an hour every single day practicing defending the bunt. So when we went to play them, we got off to a big start. We were winning like 4 or 5-0 early in the game. And then he got a girl on base, and we're winning like 4-0 or 5-0, and he has his girl bunt. Now, I knew his signals. I didn't know which signal meant which thing, but I knew that if he started calling out colors and uniform numbers, if he said like, blue 18, green 22, that was how he communicated what the girls were supposed to do. They were the signs, verbal signs. Now, I didn't know what each sign meant, but we knew that there was going to be a bunt in there somewhere. So he would call out the play. Now, we're winning 4 or 5-0, and there's a girl on first, and he has the girl, the batter, lay down a bunt. And we come up, we catch the bunt, we throw to first, we get the girl out, the girl goes to second base. I'm like, yeah, no problem, you can do that again. I don't care. Because he only has 9 outs left in the game. He just gave me one of his 9 outs. And he hasn't scored a run yet. So the next batter up bunts again. We pick it up again, we throw to first. Now, defending the bunt is not easy. It's something you really have to work hard on. So now the girl gets to third, but now there's 2 outs. And then somehow the girl comes around and scores. I didn't even care because we're still winning 5-1. And now they're down to 6 outs left in the game. So the next inning comes along and we scored another run, so we're up 6-1. And again, they get a girl on second base this time, and he bunts her to third, and he bunts her home, but we got 2 more outs out of the deal. So now he only has 4 outs left in the game, and then we got another girl out, and he's down to 3 outs left in the game. And the bottom line is the ending score of the game, I think, was 6-3. It might have been 6-4, one way or another. We won, but we won comfortably. If we didn't know how to defend the bunt, like most teams don't, then we could have made mistakes. And the reason he kept calling for the bunt is he kept thinking we would make a mistake. And we did not make a mistake. We executed what it was we were taught how to do. And that's really what's going to happen on the test you take on Wednesday. You don't know much about my tests, but you are about to learn. My tests are fair. They cover everything in the unit. And I give you, in your case, you're going to get 3 copies of the test before you ever take the test. Once again, let me say that. On my computer, I have copy A, copy B, copy C, and copy D. You know how on the do-its, all I do is change the numbers? You know how on tomorrow's quiz, or on this, it might say 3 times 10 to the 9th? That's all I do on the test. I just change the number. I'm not typing the whole thing in over again. Are you crazy? It takes too long. So you're going to get 3 copies of the test in advance. So I'm telling you, this is what you need to know in order to do well on the test. We knew we needed to defend the bunt in order to beat Saxton. We won, they lost, we went undefeated, they didn't. And I remember feeling really bad because I liked a couple of girls on their team and they were crying in the dugout and it really made me feel bad. Took away.
I would. You almost went undefeated.
Right, well that's what it was. If they had not almost done it, they wouldn't have cried. But they almost went, and then we did go, and they wanted to beat us, which is good because they should have wanted to beat us. We would have wanted to beat them, but it is what it is. Now, when you take the quiz tomorrow, you understand what's coming. When you take your test, you will have 3 days worth of pretest. And I'm telling you now, the work you just did on your quiz is on the test. The work that you're going to do right now, some of it is on the test. So if you can't do it, you're not going to perform particularly well. All right, so apparently, I didn't save this as well as I should have. So I have to, in the words of the great Clint Eastwood, improvise, adapt, overcome. Express as a standard numeral 4.2 times 10 to the negative 7 and 9.041 times 10 to the 5th. Okay, so I want to express each of these. Who wants to tell me what the answer to the first one is? Let's go with Stephen, go ahead.
0.0000004.2.
Let's see. It's got to go a total of 7 places to get the decimal after the 4. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, that's 6 places. I got to slip another 0 in there. Okay? Now, I believe that doing what Stephen just did is pretty tricky, but if you go backwards, you can check yourself. So whenever I think I have the answer, I then work backwards. 1, 2, 4, 5, 6, 7, that would do it. That's the answer. Okay, what about the next one? What do we get on the next one here? Come on, work, talk to me. Angela?
904,
Well, just read out the numbers.
904, 1, 0, 0.0.
Well, let's see. Let's see if we go 5 places. 1, 2, 3.
Oh no, sorry,
Four.
one more.
So I need another 0 there. There we go. So 904,100. Okay? Are we good? Okay. So you know you're going to have a couple of conversions on the test. You're going to need to be able to do this. Next, find the product of, and it says 8 times 10 to the, let me get my glasses on here. Without my old man reading glasses, I have a hard time. 8 times 10 to the 8th, and 4 times 10 to the 3rd. Okay, so when I do this one, what do I do to the coefficients? Multiply, good. So 8 times 4 is 32, times 10 to the 11. Danger, danger, danger. What's the dangerous part of this problem, as Steve Irwin would say?
32 is not in between 1 and 10.
That's right. 32 is not between 1 and 10, so I have to divide by 10, which means I now need to multiply by 10. 3.2 times 10 to the 12th. Okay? So that would be my correct answer there. The next one, at Huge University has 2.5 times 10 to the 7th students. School budget's 10 to the 10th dollars. How much dollars per student? So 25 times 10 to the 10th. We talked yesterday about this per student, means I have to divide by the number of students. 2.5 times 10 to the 7. 25 divided by 2.5 is 10, times 10 to the subtract exponents third. Am I done?
No.
No, why? What's the problem? What is the issue? Rach?
It's bigger than 10.
Right, so, well, it equals 10, which,
Well, yeah.
so I have to divide by 10, multiply by 10, and I get 1 times 10 to the 4th. Okay? Any questions about that? All right, so now what I want you guys to do is, oh, you should have done them already. Number 4, number 5, and then we can go back and do a little bit more work after that. All right, so number 4, I took off of a question that the state released. This was an actual state regents exam or assessment test question. It says the speed of light in a vacuum is 299,792,458 meters per second. Which number written in scientific notation is the best approximation of the speed? So it says 299,792,458. Now notice a little later it says which is the best approximation. If you were to round this off, what do you think the most logical thing to round it off would be? Chris?
300,000.
Well, 300 million, yeah. 300, and then change everything else to zeros. Good. So I take a look at those choices. Now, let's notice something here. Let's learn to be a little bit test-wise. It says which number Written in what? Everybody. Scientific notation. Take a look at choices A, B, C, and D. Are any of those choices not in scientific notation? Max? A and B are not. Why? That's right. It says 0.3 times. Isn't the number in front supposed to be between 1 and 10?
Yeah.
So A and B are out. It has to be C or D. Which is right? 3 times 10 to the 7th or 3 times 10 to the 8th? Spencer? That's right. 3, 6, 7, 8. So the correct answer is choice D. Now, to get that question right, you needed to be able to approximate, which is rounding off. And then you had to be able to eliminate choices because you knew what proper scientific notation form is. And then you had to be able to count the decimal places correctly. So there was a lot involved in that question. Next one, which exponential question is equivalent to 2 to the negative 5 times 2 to the 8? What is that going to equal, everybody? Well, first question is it going to be 2 to the or 4 to the? What's it going to be? Come on, hey, head in the game, let's go.
4 to
No, it's going to be 2 to the. The base has to stay the same all the way through. Now, 2 to what power? 2 to what power? Come on, talk to me. You got to be more ready than this. Everybody.
third.
Third. What do you do to the two exponents here?
You add them.
Add them. What's negative 5 plus 8? What's 5 negatives and 8 positives?
3.
3
Positive.
positives. Very good. Okay. Now, which of those choices is equivalent to that? If I look at choice A, it says 2 to the 2 over 2 to the negative 1. Which one of these, don't you subtract exponents here? Right, so I have my base of 2. What is 2 minus negative 1? 3. Circle agregare. 2 plus 1 is 3. So this is another way of saying 2 to the third. So they're both equal to each other. Okay? All right, turn the page. Now what I want you guys to do is number 2, number 3, and then underneath that, believe it or not, numbers 1 and number 3. Work those out. I will give you the correct answers in just a couple of minutes. You can talk to the person around you if you want about math. Okay? I'll give you about 5 minutes to get that done. Maybe a hair less because we only have 4 left in the period. I'll give you a little help on A and B. On A, it should say if n is odd, and on B, it should say if n is even. And then the answers will be either positive or negative. You can figure them out. No, I'm not. No, we got a couple of minutes and we're done. We okay? All right. Number 2A, if n is odd, then -1 to the n will be? Negative. Good. If n is even, -1 to the n will be? Positive. Good. -11 to the 35th. I don't need to know what it equals. I just want to know, is it positive or negative? Negative. Who said positive? When you have an odd number of negative signs, it'll be negative. What about number 1C? 5 to the 94 times 5 to the 78 is? 5 to the what? 172. Nice. Bueno, bueno. Next up, you gave me the look. Next up, x to the 6 times x to the 13th is? Who's going to help me here? X to the 19. Good. -3 to the 9th times -3 to the 5th is? -3 to the 14th. Very good. Next up, f. F to the 10th times f to the 14th is? F to the 24th. Very good. Hasta la vista. Vaya con Dios. Toodaloo. Ta-ta. Arrivederci. Smile a lot. Ciao. Arrivederci. Adios, amigos y amigas. Cheerio. Have fun. See ya. Enjoy. See ya. Oh, you didn't even say thank you. Yeah.